Hello, this is Jack from tofluency.com along with
Kate.
And we are back with another conversation in English, and this is where we talk about various topics so that you can get some good listening practice, learn new words and phrases, and do this in a fun way. So be sure to check out the description for resources and a list of the phrases that we use today. Now, we are going to talk about winter. We talked about summer maybe 2 years ago, and we went through various idioms and just talked about summer in general to give you some key phrases. And we're going to do the same again today, but we're going to talk about winter. My first question is it winter at the moment?
That is an excellent question. Winter is actually beginning in the next month.
Okay, so today it's late November. When does winter officially start?
That's a great question.
I
don't know off the top of my head. I think it is in December.
I always think if you divide it by month, then it's December, January, February.
I think that this is a question that Google can answer.
Yeah. When is winter? Is there an official date?
Is it December 1st?
I don't know. Leave a comment below. I do know the shortest day of the year.
We're experts.
Yeah. We don't know the technical aspects of this. But,
of this season.
The shortest day of the year is the 21st.
Oh, yeah?
Of December.
Neat.
Which is not too far away. And at the moment, it goes dark at about
5:30?
Maybe a little bit before. So it goes dark quite early. In the UK, I think it goes dark around 4:45.
Yes.
In the winter.
Really early.
And I want to say straight away that one of the biggest differences between where we live now and the UK is the quality of light in winter.
Oh, I agree.
Because here you can get some glorious days. On Sunday, I was sitting outside in just a t-shirt for 2 hours.
And this Sunday, you'll be sitting outside again.
Yeah.
In a t-shirt, probably.
So it's going to be a high of 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, it's t-shirt weather.
Yeah, probably around never mind.
Yeah. Thought that was a little ambitious.
I know. I don't work in Celsius very well. So, even though it makes sense.
That's one of the big things here, though, because we're in the mountains, but we're in the south. It can be really warm, relatively, during the day, but then it can get really cold at night. Absolutely.
And you notice that here, for example, we didn't get almost any snow yesterday in our neighborhood, but when we drove 10 minutes down the road, there was ice and snow on the road. So it really changes not only in general, but in little areas.
Yeah. So some schools were closed yesterday. Yeah. I made a video about this, about phrases in the snow last winter. And I called it a snow day.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a snow day yesterday?
Yesterday was a delay.
Right.
So it's really typical that if the roads will be icy in the morning, potentially schools will be delayed by an hour or two. If it starts snowing during the day, often we'll have an early dismissal and schools will release 1 or 2 hours early.
Okay, so a delay is when schools start late, and an early release is when you have to pick them up early from school. Right, okay. Yeah. And we sometimes get really good snow days here, don't we?
Yes. We get probably several snow days a year, and we'll have at least one every year, usually a few, where we can go sledding by our house, which is really fun.
Yeah, there's some great hills around here to go sledding. We call that sledging.
Sledging?
Yeah, a sledge and to go sledging.
Wow. Yeah, we call it sledding. No G.
No G. Yeah. So a few phrases just to introduce here are, I really like the one, it's freezing.
Like it's freezing cold.
It's freezing cold. It's freezing outside. It's going to be freezing tomorrow. Put on your jacket. It's freezing.
We say that a lot.
Yeah. Come on, put on your jacket. It's freezing.
It's freezing. Now, funny enough, we say that all the time to our son. But when you were a boy, did you like to wear a jacket?
Well, I wore a jacket, but at school I wore shorts for the whole year. I found trousers really uncomfortable.
So you would only wear shorts?
Only wear shorts until I was about 10, I think, or 11.
And right now I'm working in a school and I have students who are about 13 and 14 years old and they do not like wearing jackets.
Even this morning?
Even this morning. So yesterday was really freezing. But even so, even we had a delay for snow and students came to school in t-shirts.
Wow. Yeah, yesterday it was freezing. And I want to say it is relative, but because, you know, I have students who are in certain countries who always tell me that's not cold. When I say it's -2 degrees Celsius, they say that's not cold. But it feels cold.
It does feel cold.
Other way to say it. It does feel cold. And obviously, -20 is colder, but -2 is still cold.
Still cold. Yeah. Anything below freezing to me is cold.
So what do you do and what do you wear to stay warm when it's cold outside or when it's freezing?
Great question. And I am so glad that you asked because I really enjoy certain parts of winter. And one of the things that I enjoy most about winter is layering. So I don't just wear one thing or one layer of clothing, I wear several. And I think a lot about it, and I really enjoy putting on those layers and just wrapping up and being cozy. So, for example, it is better for me to wear a sweater and a shirt rather than just a long sleeve shirt or a sweater, because I like to take the layers on and off throughout the day. So you like to put on layers. That just means like various items of clothing. Yeah, it's a smart thing to do. I know. Especially when it's really warm and then really cold. What is your philosophy on hats? Hats, I don't like wearing hats. You don't like wearing hats? No. Aren't you the one that's always talking about losing body heat from your head? Well, maybe. Maybe so. But I don't wear hats. Okay. But you don't like them. Is that because it messes up your hair? No. I don't like taking lots of things with me because you take off your hat, you take off your scarf, you take off your gloves, and then you have to put them somewhere. True. Or carry them. And sometimes you lose them. But to me, that's part of the excitement of layering. Yeah, I sometimes get into this where I'll buy some base layers. But I never really wear them. What are your base layers? So base layers are, well, usually have a top and some trousers. And they go under your regular clothes to keep you warm. We may call this long underwear. Okay, long underwear. For example. Yeah. And so it's almost like tights, right? And a really tight, tight thin layer. Yeah. But what's that made out of? Sometimes cotton. And then performance apparel. I don't know what the materials are. I feel like you're asking me some trick questions. I'm wondering because this is my area. I really like layering, and so I think a lot about like what is the base layer, and there's synthetic base layers like Kathleen, and then there's silk and wool. You don't like wool. I am allergic to wool, unfortunately. Because I know it is so cozy and natural. But the other ones. Silk especially is meant to be really warm.
Yeah.
Warming.
Yeah, sometimes I wear them for soccer when it's really cold. But it's funny when you play soccer. I've got to say football here as well.
Okay, say football.
Football.
That's fine.
So when you play football and I'm on a team, and if we're playing and it's quite cold, everyone wears these base layers. But then within 2 or 3 minutes of playing, everyone's taking them off.
Taking them off.
'Cause it's
How
too
do you
hot.
take off a base layer though? Isn't that like...
Well, the top you can.
Okay,
So they'll take off the jersey and then they'll take off the base layer.
the base layer and put on the jersey.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
same with gloves as well. So you see everyone taking their gloves off straight away because it gets too warm.
I have a question. Are you a person who runs hot or do you run cold?
I think I run hot,
You run hot.
except for my hands and feet.
So you're always feeling warm.
Yeah.
I am generally a person who runs cold.
Yeah.
My feet especially, and sometimes my hands get like ice cold.
Yeah. No, hands and feet especially, I think because of the circulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we were just talking before about Wim Hof,
Oh yeah.
the Iceman, who is just incredible because he's trained himself to resist the cold. And some of the things he's done, like he has all these world records for swimming underwater in ice water, staying in a block of ice, or like in an ice bath. He's got the world record for that.
What do you know off the top of your head? Like, is it minutes, hours?
Oh, it's hours.
It's hours.
Yeah, I think it's 1.5 hours in ice. But then it might be more, I can't remember. But he's done these marathons in Finland where it's been like minus 25 Fahrenheit in just his shorts and some boots. And a marathon.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So he has trained himself, I think mainly through breathing exercises, but also cold exposure.
Wow.
To resist the cold. It's pretty impressive, actually. Yeah.
And does he have any like takeaways that other people can do? Is it like an exercise that anyone can do?
Yeah.
Or can only he do?
No, he's trained people to do it as well.
Really?
Yeah. And he's really charismatic. He's good to listen to. Check out, I think he did a really long podcast with Joe Rogan.
Okay.
I'll leave a link to it.
Nice.
But he, gone.
And I just have one question. As a perpetually cold person who doesn't like being cold, why?
Why what?
Why put yourself in an ice bath for hours?
Oh, well, I think that's more of the test.
Okay.
To show how much you can resist the cold. But the idea is that you can train yourself so that you just don't feel cold in the winter. And it's through breathing exercises, cold showers, and just steadily getting used to, I take cold showers.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I finish on a cold shower, 30 seconds.
Is that good for your pores?
I think it's mainly for circulation.
Yeah.
This isn't in 4K, so you can't see the pores.
Yeah, they're very
Porish.
small.
Yeah, but having a cold shower is great. It feels very energizing too.
Invigorating.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can get on board with that. I wish that it was cooler to wear all of the layers. Because I feel like there's this, it seems like it's very daring or very cool to be the person that's out in the cold without the layers. But I want to make it cool to put on all the layers.
I think that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, you think so?
It's fashionable to put on scarves and hats and gloves.
Hats called beanies are really in right now.
Are they?
They're knit and they look a little bit
What, are they bigger?
slouchy in the back. They're a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I just can't get into hats.
Sometimes they have a pom-pom on the top.
Yeah. Well, you just got a new one, didn't you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got one that that matches one that I got for our daughter, but it's a little bit small. So not only when I take it off do I have hat hair, so my hair is everywhere, but also my forehead is ridged. I look like I belong on Star Trek.
So that's fashionable.
Well, it's fashionable before I take it off.
Oh, so it leaves an impression.
It leaves an indent. It looks like my forehead is made out of my hat.
Well, that's maybe you need to get a new one.
Maybe I do.
Oh.
Maybe I have to get one.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, if you do any kind of winter sports, then hats are important. And I have a question. Do you like winter sports?
I love winter sports. I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like skiing?
Yes.
Didn't you do cross-country skiing?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was in high school, I was on a cross-country skiing team. I was not the best.
But you enjoyed it.
But I loved it. And actually, speaking of layers, when I would cross-country ski, all that I would wear is like a spandex suit. We had like a spandex racing suit.
Is that kind of like a wetsuit?
Kind of like a wetsuit, but it's more breathable.
How
it's not
thick was
meant to
it?
keep you warm. Very thin.
How did you stay warm?
So because Nordic skiing or cross-country skiing is so cardiovascular, and you get really heated doing it, I was always too hot.
Right.
Sometimes I had a hat too, though.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like a very physical activity, isn't it?
So there's that. And I grew up in New England where we could go ice skating. Not always out in nature because sometimes the ice was a little bit thin to be safe, although sometimes. But there were a lot of ice skating rinks. There were ski slopes near where we lived. And there's actually one not too far from where we are now that I want to check out this year.
Yeah.
Have you been skiing a lot?
I've only been twice. Once indoors on a fake snow.
There's an indoor ski slope?
Yeah.
Tell me about
in
this.
Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small ski slope inside. And then before that, there's also a dry ski slope near where I live in Pendle. I think it was Pendle.
Hold on. What is a dry? How does that work?
This is a long time ago.
Okay.
I think I was about 10, maybe 11. And it's just like a slope. It's not like snow at all. It's just like these small squares that mimic snow.
Okay. But you can use like regular skis on it.
I think so.
Snowboards. Have you ever tried snowboarding?
No. But I don't know what it's called, where you go down a sand dune on like a snowboard.
Oh, wow.
I've done that.
Sandboarding?
It might be sandboarding. Down a dune.
A dune?
Yeah, dune in Peru. But yeah, we don't get snow growing up. There's no mountain really big enough to have any kind of ski slope or with the high enough altitude. So yeah, we don't grow up with winter sports, and I think that's why people in the UK aren't into the Winter Olympics.
Oh, really?
Because you don't grow up doing these things, and therefore we're not very good at them. But we did have an ice skating rink nearby, which we used to go to quite often. That was fun. One of my friends as well, who I went to college with, she was a figure skater for a while. So I used to follow what she did. But apart from that, yeah, winter sports just aren't popular.
No.
Because we're on these fake
skating.
snow slopes.
That makes sense. I feel like the snow is part of the experience. And it's more accessible when there's mountains everywhere covered in snow.
Is ice skating in the Summer or Winter Olympics? Might sound like a silly question.
It is.
It's in the Winter Olympics.
It's in the Winter Olympics, yeah.
Because there were a couple from the UK called Torvill and Dean.
Okay.
And everybody knew Torvill and Dean because they were a figure skating pair.
Yeah.
So that everyone was interested in that, but generally speaking, they weren't interested in the Winter Olympics.
In the Winter Olympics. It's so funny how when you're watching the Olympics, you get so much information and so much coverage about your country, and you don't necessarily know what's going on with other countries unless there's a standout. Like everyone knows Usain Bolt.
Exactly.
But other than that, like you're really focused on your Olympic heroes.
Yeah, because I've watched the Olympics in the UK and in America, and that's you're right. It's just focused on the country and how many medals they're winning and who they have, and the popular people that are taking part.
I'm really interested to hear what other people, whether other people watch the Summer and Winter Olympics, and if they have a particular athlete that they follow or know about.
Kate's question.
My question. It's a little early though, isn't it?
No, it's right on time.
Right on time. That is my question for y'all. Is if you prefer summer or winter sports, and if you have a particular athlete or sport that you follow in that season.
Yeah, that's great. And like I said, check out the description for some of the phrases that we've used. While Kate was talking, I was thinking, that's a good phrase that we're going to put in there.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, and one more thing. Can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it more, I want to say cool, but that can be confusing because cool can also be a temperature.
Oh, people know what cool.
People know what cool means. Is it cooler to be the person in a t-shirt on a freezing cold day or shorts? Or is it cooler to have a lot of fashionable layers?
Cool. Very cool. Leave your comments below. And if you've enjoyed this, please like and share. Okay. Bye for now.